In this video, I'm going to show you how to configure and display charts and graphs anywhere within your Bubble app, like these two charts on this sales dashboard you see in front of you here, for example. Now, for a sales dashboard, typically a user can tell by the key metrics and charts and graphs displayed of how the business is performing. So for the bar chart on the left, for example, shows sales by the month in a 3-month period. So that can show how the business is doing over time. In the pie chart on the right, sales by product, you can easily tell the relative performance of your product offerings, which product has the best sales, for example. And in general, charts and graphs are very useful. They help you spot trends in data, particularly large amounts of data that would be hard to spot if you just go in and look at the raw data. So they're very useful, and obviously they're commonly used. Now I'm going to be showing you how to configure and display charts and graphs in your Bubble app using a free plugin developed by Bubble that does a very nice job. Specifically, I'm going to be walking through how to get the right data that you want to display, do any filtering or processing of the data prior to displaying it, and any of the relevant settings for displaying the data. Now, right before I start doing that, for those who are new here, I'm Kevin Chang from Do Your Dream Work. And on this channel, I have tutorials on how to do various things on the Bubble platform. Now, as many of you likely know, Bubble is a powerful no-code platform for building web apps. And recently, they added the ability to build native mobile apps as well. So if you're looking to build an app on Bubble, or if you're already in that process and you're wondering how to do something, feel free to check out my videos on my channel here for some of that information. So all right, then with that said, let's dive right into. Now, Bubble provides a plugin that does the job nicely. It's a free plugin developed by Bubble itself, and this is what's used to generate the charts that you see on this dashboard. And now first, I'm going to show you the plugin. Here I'm in my Bubble editor, and on the left sidebar, if you go to plugins, the plugin I'm talking about is Chart Element. And there's this one right here. I already have this installed, as you can see. And what you would do is just add plugin, and we can just search for chart. And here it is. And it's just a one-click install. And before I click out of here, I just want to show you on the bottom left corner here, 729,015 apps are using this plugin. So it's used by many apps. So I'm going to click out of here. And once you have this Chart Element plugin installed, you see on the left sidebar in the element tree of your Bubble editor, on the visual elements, there's an additional element called a line bar chart, line/bar chart. And we can use that to create 5 different types of charts. And I'll walk you through how to create 2 of them, the bar chart and the pie chart you see here. All right, again, just a quick look at the 2 charts on the finished dashboard page in preview. And here's another page with the 2 charts removed. And now back to my Bubble editor to put these 2 charts there. Now, first of all, I'm just using a group, just a blank group. And so on the left chart, this group here is in a column configuration. So it's a column container group consisting of 2 elements. The first one is yet another group in a row configuration. And inside of that, I put a text element with the word sales. And that's it, just a label for the chart. And below that, all this room is where we're going to put the chart. So again, on the left sidebar, from installing the Chart Element plugin, we get this, as I mentioned, line/bar chart element. Just click it and we drag it in here. And this is just how it looks when you just first put it on a surface. And first, I just want to rename this Chart 1 3-month bar chart. All right, so in the property editor, the chart type, I want to change this to a bar chart. And the type of data is a data type I've set up called orders. And below that is the data source. And before I click in there and set that up, let me show you quickly what this data type looks like as I've set it up here. So in the data tab on the left, this is the orders data type. And I've created this data as a set of demo data for this video. And all this is showing is orders placed on various dates and the amount of the order and the date that it was placed. I've set it up so that there are several orders in any given month. So I'm going to be generating a graph of 3 months of sales data displayed month by month. So now, as I've said, there are multiple orders within any given month. So if we were to just do this in our head, the first thing we want to do is to group together all the orders in any given month. And what I've displayed here is the orders in June, July, and August, each one represented by a bar. So I need to group the multiple orders in June, July, and August for each one of those months, and then add them up to get a total for each one of those months. So there are two operations. First, group all the order amounts in each one of those months, then add them. So as we go through setting this up using the chart element plugin, we'll be setting up these two steps. So now back to the property editor. When we set up the data source, first we want to do a search for, and as always, we want the type here to match the data type we already specify, which is orders. And my data type here is named DM orders. The DM is short for demo. So this orders data type, there's no particular constraint I want to add here, and I don't need to sort them. So I'm going to close this. Now here is when we do the first step, what I just talked about, which is grouping. We want to group the multiple order amounts within each month. We want to essentially collect them together in a group. And Bubble has a appropriately named function. If you scroll down on the more, right beyond search for orders, there is a group by, and that's the one you want. So we're grouping all the order amounts where these orders were placed within that month. So group by, and when you select grouped by, it's going to give you this additional pop-up. We want to click the add a new grouping, and it's going to ask for the field to group by, and we want to group by month because we want to group all the orders that were placed within a given month. In this case, the field name that I have used for the date is the order date, and the type of grouping now, there are really only two choices here, day and month. And we want to group by month because we're graphing out sales by the month. But just know that you can group by day or month. Now, you might be wondering if you can group by any other period rather than the month. What if you want to display the sales data by quarter? So you want to sum up all the order amounts within a given quarter. Can you do that? And yes, you can. What you do in that case is you're still going to group by month, but you're going to adjust this setting called the interval, which is this next setting below the type of grouping. So we've grouped by month, but in the interval, it is guiding us to enter the number of months that we want this interval to be. So since we're grouping all the orders in a month, the smallest interval has to be a month, at least a month. But if we wanted to display the data by the quarter, let's say we have 3 years worth of sales data, and we want to aggregate and display by the quarter. For instance, for the first quarter, it will be summing up all the orders in January, February, and March. For instance, Bubble is still going to group by the month, but interval, you would enter 3 months and it would group all the orders further into a group spanning the 3 months of that quarter that you specify. So the point being that you're going to group by the month, but you can display the data not only by the month, but by larger intervals in time, like a quarter or even a 6-month period of time as a single bar in the bar chart, if you like. So here I am going to display data by the month. So the interval here, I'm going to enter 1 for 1 month. And we said it will be the months of June, July, and August. So I'm going to start on June 1st. And I'm going to use an arbitrary date and time that allows me to enter in manually June 1st. And I'm going to say I also want to take account of any empty groups. We really don't have any empty groups here. But if I didn't have any sales in any given month, this will be where you can choose to include that month without any sales on your chart or not. So I'm going to check that, even though we don't have any empty months in the data that I've set up. Now in the ending date, I'm going to just set again arbitrary date time, where I'm going to set August 31st. So this will span the 3 months from June to August. So now we've just done the grouping. And as I said a little earlier, setting up this graph, we go through 2 steps. The first is grouping all the orders for a given month that we're going to be displaying. And we just did that. And then the second one is to add up the amounts of all those orders. So we're going to do that now. And that's an aggregation. So the second button down below here, add a new aggregation. And there are actually multiple types of aggregation you can perform here. You can do a count, you can take an average, and there are these, you can take a minimum of the orders, the maximum of the orders. Here we're going to do the sum to add up the orders. And now the field to calculate this sum on then is obviously going to be the amounts, the order amounts. We're going to add those up and we choose amount. All right, and now we're all set in this pop-up. You can close it. Then the field below, the data you want to display is the value expression. And because you already grouped and added the data appropriately, all you have to do is to just specify here what that is. And what it is the current point. And you already have it because you've already directed in the step we just finished there how to get that current point. So now click the more, and the drop-down will show the options order date and sum of amount. And we want the sum of amounts that we just asked Bubble to calculate in the previous step. The last thing Bubble is asking for here is the label expression, which again is the current point. And we click more to get the order date, because we want to label the x-axis, if you will, the horizontal axis, by the month that it's actually displaying the data for. And we actually want to format this data to the way we want to show that on the axis. And what I'm going to do is to format it as the first 3 letters of the month and the year. There's not any of these readily given choices. I'm going to choose custom. And the format that I want specifically is going to be the 3 letters of the month, representing the month, and the 4 digits of the year. And I set up the data as this year, 2025. Now, below that are some of the design aspects of this graph. So series 1 color, that refers to the outline of the bars on this graph. And what I want is this primary color. Then actually, let me choose another one here. Yeah, that one, primary 50. And the series 1 fill color is, so the series 1 color I said was the outline. The series 1 fill color fills the inside of the bars. So I'm going to choose secondary 50 for that. That's how that looks. And there are other color options for grid lines, etc. If you would like to adjust those, you can certainly check out the options there. But I'm going to leave it and go to the layout tab. So we're in a column container, and so the horizontal alignment, I just want the graph to be centered. Now the last thing to do is adjust the size of the chart. And here you can just play around with the sizing of it. I'm going to uncheck fixed amount, fixed height, fixed width. We don't want that. And I know that from playing around with this graph, it fits nicely when I have the minimum height at 260. And let's see how that looks. I'm going to refresh the page, and here we go. And on the horizontal axis with the label, it's the month, 3 letters, and the 4-digit year, June 2025, and so on. And there's also a hover effect as far as showing the data represented by each bar. When I hover over the June bar, the tooltip that pops up shows the month and year as well as the amount represented by that bar. All right, so that is the bar chart. Next, I'll walk through how to generate and configure the pie chart on the right. So all right, for the pie chart on the right, we're going to put it in the same kind of a container. It's going to be a column container. It has two components, the row container at the top there with the text element that says sales by product. And in the space below is where we're going to put the chart. All right. So just like for the bar chart we just did a little earlier, on the left element tree sidebar, we can click on line/bar chart and just place that right in the space there. And the first thing, I'm going to rename this to chart 2. That's a pie chart. And the first thing I want to do again is to choose the chart type. In this case is the pie chart. Type of data. I have a products data type set up for this. It's going to show as the title of the chart alludes to sales by product. So I have a products data type. Now the data source, again, is going to be, now before I click in here, I'm going to quickly show you on the data tab here. Here's my products data type, and the two columns with the data that's pertinent to the graph is going to be the product name, the first column here. And these are just the names of the 8 products for this demo that I've entered in here, and how much sales correspond to each product, which is going to be on this column here, sales amount. And so it's going to be this column right here. So the slices of the pie on the pie chart is going to correspond to each one of these products. And by the way, I only named the first 3 products, and from 4 to 8, I just named them product 4 through 8. So let's go back to the property editor for this pie chart. Now for the data source, I'm going to click in here, and it's going to be do a search for the type of data is going to be the products data type. I don't have any specific constraints. And then we're done here. And again, for the value expression, the next field, what is going to be indicated by the size of the slices on the pie chart. And that's going to be the sales amount. So we're going to click in here, current point, and we're going to choose, come down here and choose sales amount. And actually, yeah, we're going to leave that there. So below that label expression, that's going to be the current point's product name. And what we want to do below is to format the sales amounts. So what I mean is that it's just regular numbers, and we just wanted to put a $, for example, to indicate what kind of currency this is in, to indicate that it is a currency and then which currency it is. First here, the checkbox, rotation, animation, and that's something that you can check or uncheck if you like. When the chart first loads, there's going to be a rotation animation if you'd like to have that. I'm going to uncheck that. Show tooltips, that's going to show which product each slice of the pie represents, and I do want to show that. And on the tooltip, it will also show the amount, the sales amount for that product. And I'm going to click the next item, which is customize tooltip number formatting. And that's going to, as I mentioned just a second ago, allow me to format the numbers as currency. So I'm going to select currency as the number type. I'll leave the decimal place unchecked because I have whole numbers. I don't have any decimal places. Decimal separator, the dot is fine. The thousand separator, the typical comma is fine. And I do want the currency indicator. In this case, I'm choosing US dollars. Use parentheses for negative numbers. Yes, that works fine for me. So that's how the pie chart, the slices, the tooltip, as you hover over each slice, etc., the information that's going to be displayed on this chart is going to be the appearance of how this information will display. So now we're going to go over to the layout tab, and since this is a column container that's containing this chart, I'm going to center this horizontally, and I'm going to uncheck fixed width and height. And this is, again, something that you'll very quickly come to find the best fit size-wise of your chart in any container that you're using to contain your chart. So you're just going to play around with the pixel count. So for me, I know from just playing around with this that 300 pixels minimum height will work fine for the space I have here. So let's check out what it looks like. All right, I'm going to refresh the page. All right, so this is what we had in our finished dashboard. Let's go quickly to the finished dashboard, and this is exactly what we have there. So, and as you hover over each slice of the pie, it tells you what the product is and the sales amount for each one. It's microphone, 4,750, webcam, 1,900. These are just data that I've made up for the demo. And as you have seen here, this plugin is easy to generate a graph and to configure its settings. And you just have to tell it the data to use to display on the graphs by specifying the data source, as we've done here. And any graphs where you need to group data and to do some sort of calculation, let's say do a sum, you can use the group by selection in the property editor to first group and then to do an aggregation to do the sum, etc. All right, so that's how to create and configure various types of graphs using the chart element plugin. Again, it's a free plugin. It works nicely. The graphs have nice displays and it's straightforward to set up. All right, now, if you have any questions about what I went over in this video, or if you have topic suggestions for future videos, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And I also want to mention that if you're running a Bubble app in your business, there are two services that I offer that can help. One is my existing app service, where I will add functionalities and features to your app per your request, troubleshoot issues, fix bugs, and perform other service requests, or in a transparent, fixed-priced service plan. And this lets you know upfront exactly what your cost will be. And you can pause and cancel at any time. Besides the cost transparency, my service plans free up your valuable time so you can be spending it on other important priorities in your business rather than dealing with tech issues within your app. And another service I offer is my coaching calls, where during the call, I answer your questions and help you get unstuck if you're building your Bubble app or dealing with tech issues within your existing Bubble app on your own. The links to both of these services are in the descriptions if you like more details. All right then, as always, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.